record. Hello, MJ. Hello, Beverly. How are you?
Julia, it's so great to be here with you today.
Yes, it is. I'm just excited about doing this.
I don't think we've seen each other since the 25th birthday, have you?
That's right. Yes, that was when we saw you almost 5 years ago, right?
Too bad we're not seeing you in person this year.
Right.
No, but perhaps next year you'll be able to come over and you can explore London and we can go to the theatre. What do you think about that?
I'm ready to go now. Let's just get everything cleared. We'll be flying over to meet you.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share and let's talk about some of the arts that we've seen and done.
Yes, there we go.
Okay, so as we said, this year is Pax Lodge's 30th birthday, and 30 is all about pearls. So the Friends of Pax Lodge, that you and I, our group, has created this challenge based around pearls. P, that's for peace. E, environment. A, arts, and that's what we're going to talk about. R, royalty, and L, London locations. So shall we get on that Pax Lodge bus then?
Oh, let's hop on our Pax Lodge bus as we go to explore and tour the places in London. Let's go.
I'm always ready to go.
Okay, so here's the bus, and it's a lovely double-decker. I absolutely love going on the double-decker bus. So we're going to look at the fourth. No, it's going to be the third window.
Third one, yes.
So when we're at Pax Lodge, we actually often go down to London's West End, to Theatreland. What's your favourite form of transport, Beverly?
I usually like to take the underground. I feel I know where I'm going. I can watch the maps, and it makes me nervous if I'm on a bus and not quite sure where I'm getting off.
What about you, MJ?
Well, I like to go the underground too, because down in the underground, there is something called Poems on the Wall in the underground. And I'd really love to see them and what different people have in different quotes. And that's one part of the challenge right now.
Yes.
I have a quote from a famous First Lady of the United States called Eleanor Roosevelt. She was the First Lady of our 32nd President, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And she had something that maybe we would see it on the wall. It's called, "We will never have peace without friendship around the world." So
that's a lovely theme.
Yeah, it's something for you to think about. And you could write a poem in your challenge. Take the word peace, which is our World Thinking Day topic this year. It's peace building. Take a piece of paper. It could have a dove on it from Pax Lodge, or it could just be a plain piece of paper. Just get creative and think of something that you could do with your friends. Write poems, and we will try to share your friendship with your guide troupe.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. I prefer going on the bus. It takes a bit longer, but I love going up the stairs and going to the top deck. But the thing is, you've got to remember, you've got to get off around Leicester Square. So let's carry on. Place you can go on the underground is Covent Garden. Have you been to the Covent Garden, Beverly?
Oh, yes. I was there the last time and met a friend that I had met in England once before, and we met at Covent Garden, and they were doing a performance where there was a man with these great big balls, and he would stand on them and he'd juggle, and he'd get the people in the audience to join him, and there was lots of laughter and fun time.
You can also hear music there. I've seen classical artists that have come from the opera house and that. And also going up there on the underground, you can actually see buskers. They have to play on these special semicircles and get a license if they do. MJ, do you know what else you can see?
Well, they say this Covent Garden is a magical place where you could go to the Royal Opera House. You could see a ballet, street performers. There's so many things, popular shopping site. There's so much to see. Well, you can go there and stay the whole day and be totally, totally enjoyable. Everything.
I really enjoyed the shopping. There was such a variety of things to do in the open market, but undercover.
Yeah, and there's lots of little arty craft things that you can buy there.
I think it'll be great for children to visit.
Yeah. Now, if you're interested in painting or maybe photography, you can go to the National Gallery, and that's in Trafalgar Square near Nelson's Column. They've got masterpieces, and there's the special portrait gallery just round the corner opposite St. Martin's in the Field is the Portrait Gallery. And there's lots and lots of portraits and photographs, including some of Lord Baden-Powell. One of the challenges. Go on, MJ.
Did you know that the first gallery was the first gallery in the world when it opened in 1856?
Wow.
Yeah, it was really a famous place, and now you can go and find all different portraits, and there is Baden-Powell there down there on the corner. Yes.
Now, one of the challenges you can do for your badge is to create your own portrait, your own gallery of people. So I picked some photographs up. This is one of me when I got married and my husband David in his Scottish kilt with my guides. And then I've also found some pictures of my mum and dad and my husband's parents. And then I've also found a photograph of my sister and my brother-in-law. But as well as that, I think in my portrait gallery, I'm going to add some rainbows because I really love my rainbow units. What about you, Beverly? Who would you put in your portrait gallery?
One of my favorite pictures is that of my grandmother.
Wow.
She was 8 years old and they thought she was going to die, so they had her photo taken. Needless to say, she did not die.
Well, I like to find pictures of some guy like Baden-Powell, and here's Olive Baden-Powell. You can find some pictures of scouts, and you can make your own photo gallery for your guide troop.
Yeah. You could also draw them if you didn't want to do a photograph. This is one of Lord Baden-Powell.
That's great.
And I've even got one that we used on World Thinking Day of Olive Baden-Powell. Right. So it doesn't need to be a photograph. No. You could draw it or do it some other way.
I think you got to find pictures that of people that inspire you. So let's see how you'll do on this challenge.
There's other museums that you can go and visit when you come to London. There's loads and loads of them, and many of them are free, which is absolutely great. Beverly, what's your favourite museum?
Say probably the British Museum. It's so varied that no matter what you like, you'll find at the museum. One of my favorite things was the mummies. There was some Egyptian mummies from there, and I just found those fascinating, as well as many other items.
There's another museum. There's another museum to do with Britain. That's the London Museum out towards Canary Wharf, and that's really interesting as well.
Yes, it is.
What about you, MJ? Which is your favourite museum?
Well, the British Museum also has some famous objects called the Rosetta Stone, which was used to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphics, which might be interesting to see. And of course, the Tate Modern. That's a great one on the south bank of the Thames River.
The Victorian Albert is so diverse. So many things that are in there are copies of other famous items in the world, and many of the copies they have now are things that no longer exist.
Right.
There's fashion and all sorts of things there, and the latest exhibition has been done by children. It's called All Will Be Well, and they've done posters with rainbows in. And I love going over the Millennium Bridge to the Tate Modern from St. Paul's across the River Thames. You never know what you're going to see there. I remember seeing seeds all over the floor, and then another time this huge tree, and sometimes just spoons and forks hanging on there.
I think you'd love to see it. So they should visit. And
other things, music. People love music, and you can listen to lots and lots of different style of music. Has any of you been to St. Martin's in the Field?
Yes, I just happened to wander in there with my husband several years ago at noon, and there was a concert going on, and such a surprise. And the last time I was there, I found that you could have lunch down in the crypt,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just such a beautiful place.
Sometimes they have jazz concerts down in the crypt. And I remember a couple of Christmases ago, Marlene and Dennis and I and Dave, we actually went to listen to Christmas carols inside St. Martin the Fields itself. It's absolutely beautiful. And of course, the younger people love going to the concerts at Wembley Stadium. Bit too noisy for me, I think. But
did you know that in the Wembley Stadium is 90,000 seats, one of the largest stadiums in the UK?
do you know, if it's a lovely summer, I love going to concerts out in the parks. They have lots of big concerts in Hyde Park, and you can take your picnic out there. Do you fancy going there?
That's my favorite place, Hyde Park. It's one of the largest royal parks in London, 350 acres, where you can go and relax, have a picnic, fresh air. And also there is concerts there, right, Julia?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
And they have a famous rose garden there.
I think we talk about that, Susan and I, if you go onto the environment video.
Yes.
You can also go to Southbank. There's a couple of theatres there. A really modern one is the Royal Festival Hall, but a really old one is the Globe Theatre.
Right.
Has anyone been to the Globe?
Yes, I've been to the Globe. It's wonderful to see all the different performances and so much fun to go and explore that area, the South Bank.
Beverly, have you been to the Globe Theatre?
I have only been by it. In fact, I was on a boat on the Thames when we went by it, so I have not been in it, but maybe that's on my bucket list for the next time. But I have walked down the South Bank and seen performers along there. It's just a lovely walk.
If you go to the Globe Theatre, you've got to be prepared for any weather, because you've got to stand there. If you're inside, and if it rains, you're going to get wet. But as you say, it's lovely walking along the South Bank. You can see the boats go by. You can see some of the famous buildings there. And there's all these performers. I've seen magicians, reggae dancers. Have you ever seen these sort of artists, these people that just stand there?
The Riverside Walkway is lined with trees, restaurants, and the site is a frequent of fairs and events. It's a great location for the view of the London skyline. Look at that, including St. Paul's Cathedral, Big Ben, and can't see it there, but the
London Eye.
London Eye, too.
Beverly, have you ever had a go at sort of standing there for 15 minutes painted in silver or gold paint? And then you only move if someone puts a coin in your hat.
I've often marveled at them. It's just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand for 5 seconds and do it. And it's just kind of fun to watch. And you keep watching for them to make a movement, and they don't, unless you give them a coin, and then they'll change position.
Right.
One of the challenges is to actually create your own street performance. That should be fun to see what everyone produces.
Right.
Now, again, back to music. There are many, many songs about London. Of course, you've got the Pax Lodge songbook, but some of the other artists have been inspired. I've just put a few record covers in that here. The Kinks, Waterloo Sunset. Have either of you seen the Thames when there's a sunset?
No, I have not. I've been, but I'm so interested in all this music. When I looked it up, I found out about that Florrie Ford, who you have a picture of her right there. She was a very popular entertainer. She was called the Queen of the Sing-Along, which we do a lot in the guides, is sing along and campfires and things.
Yeah, the famous song Down at the Old Bull and Bush is a pub. Have you ever been to that public house, Beverly?
No, I have not been to that one, but I've been to others, similar, but I'm not familiar with that one. But you asked about seeing the Thames at sunset. We saw it from the Millennium Wheel, and that was
That was
beautiful.
beautiful.
Not good for taking photos, but it was a beautiful sight.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah. I say Jerry Rafferty, he sang about Baker Street. Do you know what you can see at 221B Baker Street?
Yeah, what is that?
No, it's the Sherlock Holmes Museum. Sherlock Holmes is a fictional detective. And we'll have a look a little bit late when we get to books.
Right. And
Other
what is
music that you might hear is The Clash, London Calling. I find that again a bit noisy.
Well, they say London has been a famous music scene since the 1960s when the Kinks and the other groups started.
Yeah. So there's lots and lots of different songs. It'd be good if you go on and maybe find some others that you might hear and have a listen and see which is your favourite. Now, I like walking down to Camden. It's not that far from Pax Lodge if you go down the hill. There's lots and lots of things to see there. I like looking at the street art. And right at the bottom of the hill is the Roundhouse Theatre. If you go on the bus, you know that you're there when you see the bridge with Camden Lock written out upon it. And they have lots and lots of festivals. Have you been down to Camden?
Yeah, the Roundhouse is a music and theater venue presenting international programs of events. And the Roundhouse provides a creative environment for many artists. And you can see by the murals that are in the street art. You just walk around and see all these beautiful artistic people that have done such wonderful things.
And it's great if you go down shopping, there's lots and lots of markets. So you'll like it, Beverly. And above them, you might suddenly see a big trainer or a big rocking chair.
Unfortunately, I have not been down to Camden, even though it's not that far from PAX. I do believe I've gone down there to catch the bus one time, but unfortunately, I'm not familiar, but I am going to check it out next year when I get back there.
You can also, there's all different types of food you can try. And just down there is the canal, the Regent's Canal, and you can go on a boat, you can go down the canal towards Paddington to Little Venice, or you can walk along the towpath.
Oh, there it is, Little Venice. Wow.
Yeah, and at Little Venice, there's a puppet theatre actually in a boat.
Oh,
That's
look at that.
fascinating. You wouldn't think you'd get a puppet theatre in a boat. One of the challenges is to make some puppets. And I actually challenged you to make some puppets. What have you done?
I have made a marionette with a Pax Lodge bear.
Oh, he's lovely.
And I used popsicle and lolly sticks to attach it to. But you could just make it with your hands if you'd like.
Oh, that's wonderful. I bet the younger members of the Girl Guides and the Girl Scouts would love to make that. What have you done for the challenge, MJ?
Well, I just took an ordinary brown sandwich bag and found some pictures. And I found a picture of Agnes Baden-Powell. I cut her out, put the head on the top and the uniform on the bottom. And you can have a guide theater. And if you want, just use the head and draw the uniform yourself. So it's kind of a fun way.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you can have your own guide show.
You could tell the history of Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting.
Right.
But you could also make other puppets. On here, I've shown that you could make a glove puppet, or a 30 is the pearls come from oysters. So you could make little puppets out of shells stuck to pops. You call them popsicle sticks, is it? Lolly sticks?
Yeah, we call them popsicle sticks. Yours are, I had to check that out. It's lolly sticks for you.
So you could stick shells on them and little googly eyes for their eyes. Or I've done one for royalty of a princess here. Or you can even make them out of felt. Here's one of a post box, policeman, a guard, Big Ben and a yeoman of the guard. Literature and films. There's lots of books and films and that about London. Have you ever heard about Paddington Bear?
Right, that's the most famous bear in the world, I think, because they've done so many books about Paddington. And from literature, it went to the famous movie, Paddington Bear.
Do you know
And-
what? He used to keep marmalade sandwiches under his hat. I've got a jar of marmalade here. I would have thought bears would have actually preferred honey.
Honey, right?
Never mind. But what you can do, if you go to Paddington Station, there's the start of a Paddington Bear trail there. And you can actually sit next to Paddington Bear and take your picture with him.
Look at that. That's great. Well, I think Paddington is known all over the world. Like he's a famous bear, and it's just such lovely stories to read. And then, of course, a lot of the children love the movie too.
Oh, I've made a mistake. What I'm going to do is stop screen sharing, and I'm going to go back to our presentation. Let's just slide it through. Do you know what? I'm learning a lot about skills. Now, where were we? We were talking about literature and films, weren't we?
And even about...
It's still not got there.
And another book that's so popular with many of the guides is Harry Potter. And that, of course, was turned into a movie too.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So many books have been turned into movies, like even Oliver Twist. I think we also had that.
Yeah, Oliver Twist. You can listen to Great Expectations. Christmas Carol. Have you heard about Christmas Carol?
Oh, yes, that's famous worldwide.
Right.
Have to watch that every year at Christmas time. And I like watching the different versions that have evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the Sherlock Holmes Museum, that's the books written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle about that famous detective. Now there's another time.
What is the platform 3934? You could actually go there?
Yeah, that's at King's Cross Station. Harry Potter. I know that's one of Marlene's favourites.
Oh, right.
He loves going to see things to do with Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, right.
And as well as our 30th birthday challenge, we've got other challenge books that you can do if you come to Pax Lodge. And one of them is actually the Harry Potter challenge. And you can get your Harry Potter badge. Have any of you done any other challenges at Pax Lodge?
No,
I remember the challenge from the 25th that I think did you create that one?
Yeah, we did that one. That was a silver and white one because silver
right.
was for 25.
Right.
But you can also do London Monopoly. There's a one called Footsteps in the Founder. And Catherine is doing some videos with the help of Marlene all about the footsteps of the founders. That's going to be on the Saturday of our birthday weekend.
Oh, that'll be a great one.
Oh, it's Theatreland.
Theater.
You can go the matinees or you can go in the evening. And we've been to lots and lots of different plays and musicals. What's your favourite?
I'd like to go see The Wicked, which is basically about the witches of the land of Oz at the Apollo Victoria Theater. And of course, we'll be able to get back to see the two witches who were friends, or I don't know. I never saw it, and I'm not giving it away. So that's the play I'd like to see.
I think my favorite was I was amazed at how they could put on a play of Mary Poppins and, dancing on rooftops. And
right.
Pulling the plant out of the bag.
Yes.
Do you remember that? I love Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I remember a big circular stage. Joseph was in the middle, and then there was all these sheep going round like skeletons at one stage. And then they had this huge, lovely coat with all these ribbons coming out. And my guys love going to Mamma Mia. They know all the tunes from ABBA. And at the Global Friendship Week in 2019, we went from Come From Away. Have you seen Les Mis? Les Miserables?
Les Mis, oh, way back. Yes, it was the longest running play here, I know, in New York City when we went there. For my daughter's birthday, we took all her friends to see Les Mis.
I've been with the volunteers, and one time I went with Marlene Dennis as well. And of course, the longest play is The Mousetrap. Has anyone seen The Mousetrap?
Yes, I have. And I promise not to give away the ending because I can't remember it.
That's been going on for 66 years.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well,
Now,
I heard this, oh yes, this is what I heard about this Cinderella, that it's going to open up, one of the new shows opening up from at the Gillian Lynn Theater. Now I looked up the Gillian Lynn Theater. It's a famous legendary choreographer who they named the first woman to be named in a theater. So it's really a nice play. I hope we can get to see Cinderella when we come.
It's actually it's a musical. It's a new musical by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, and it's adapted from pantomimes, because we can also see pantomimes at the theatre. These are sort of fun musical comedies that you can go and see for all the family. Pantomimes normally ran at Christmas and New Year's. There's pantomimes Jack and the Beanstalk, Dick Whittington, Aladdin. Have you ever heard of them?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we're asking everyone to make their own pantomime costume. So we're looking forward to seeing what you're going to create for what show you're going to do, or maybe create your own new show.
Beverly, can you say anything about pantomimes and your experience?
When we were living in England, back when our children were young, I accompanied my son with his class to a pantomime. And that was a totally new experience for me. I didn't know what to think of it to begin with, but loved them. And I think it's a wonderful way for children to appreciate the theater.
Yeah, it's really funny. You get sort of Prince Charming, and that's supposed to be a boy, but it's a girl dressed up. And then you get these dames that are gentlemen dressed up in these really outrageous costumes, all really colourful, and they continue to change. And then you get things like pantomime horses and pantomime dames. Do you fancy being the back of the horse then, Jay?
I'm not sure. I think I'll take another role. But is these shows that are called the Panto Guide. It's a big Panto Guide. I see Potted Panto. Is that at the London Palladium Theatre? Is that where it's performed?
I think it is at the moment. It's just trying to explain to people all the different pantomimes we have.
Wow, I tell you, it's a lot of fun. It great magical costumes and all your favorite characters. I think we would love to go and take a scout. Let's take the scouts and the guides there.
You know what? If you see the baddies, you've got to go boo.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you get sweets and things thrown at you, and you always sing a little ditty at the end.
Well, sounds great.
So, out of the arts section, you've got to do two different things, but hopefully before you do that, you'll be able to look at some of the other things that we do in our challenge. But I'd love to see you again in 2022, and we can do some different art things. Perhaps we can go down to Abbey Road to the musical studios and cross the road like the Beatles. Another thing we could do is go brass rubbing. I think you've done that before, haven't you, Beverly?
There it is. Oh, Beverly, look at that.
Oh, that looks like a knight there with his shield and things and his armor. Is it fun to do?
Actually, that one our son did when he was about 6 years old. So it's not difficult. It was a fun thing. Yeah, we have several of the brass rubbings in our home that I enjoyed doing them.
And of course, there's lots and lots of theatres to go to. And the best thing, the best art there is the campfire. And guess what? We're going to have a virtual campfire on the Sunday of our birthday weekend. And I've got my inflatable campfire ready. And I've also got my campfire blanket.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think we're going to meet up there next time, aren't we?
You are definitely prepared, Julia. We'll have to get our blanket, and that campfire is great. It's going to have a lot of fun. And I hope they enjoyed our tour today.
Yes, so do I. So,
Now it's time for you to do the challenge.
Yeah.
Visit these places and be creative.
so thank you very much, MJ. Thank you very much, Beverly, and hope to see you at the virtual campfire and maybe at some of our other birthday celebrations and face to face in 2022.
We'll
So,
be there.
bye.
Bye.